Good morning. So we are so excited to be here. This is Mindy White. She's my sustainability manager, and we really are excited to share with you what has been going on in Louisville over the last 4 to 5 years. And really what's happened is a focus on transformation of our community image, really our entire mindset. And it really came and with a community engagement process. But before I get into that, I'm going to talk a little bit, I'll give you a little bit of history of Louisville. So we were first settled in 1846. So we are one of the older communities in the Metroplex. So we did that, and then in 1925, we were actually incorporated. We had a total of about 800 people. Incorporation only passed by 10 votes, by the way. A defining moment for Louisville, though, was when the Corps of Engineers built a little dam that I think most of you are aware of, and that is the Louisville Dam. So they expanded the Garza Little Elm Lake and created Louisville Lake. We just sit south of Louisville Lake, but really for the many years we just saw Louisville Lake as something, it was about recreation, and that's really all we thought about. It created 233 miles of shoreline, and so we really didn't fully take advantage. We really didn't get our hands around it because in 1990, our city just started absolutely exploding. So there's a little thing called I-35 that goes through our city. We're about 10 miles from DFW Airport, and so both our residential and our community bases exploded. And we didn't really have to think about really a lot about planning and what was free because it just happened. And then in about 2013, we're very near build out, and our city council said, you know, we really need to take a step back. We seem to be a little bit complacent now. We need to take a step back, and we need to think about where we're going and what we want to be in the future. And so we kicked off a planning process, and we hired some people to come in to help us. We hired Friesen Nichols, and we hired a lady named Karen Walls. Where are you, Karen? She's absolutely incredible. One of the best decisions of my career, by the way. And so we started a process. We brought in the experts to really study our community and look at what our future might be. Karen is an expert in public outreach, and we used a lot of really creative ways to engage with our population. And we spent a full year doing nothing but that engagement process. And we learned so much. We learned things that we really didn't expect that we would find. And so what came out of that planning process was something that we call the 2025 plan. And we call it the 2025 plan because we'll be 100 years of age in 2025. And this is what our residents said they want Louisville to be in 2025. So they want these 9 big moves. And so about that time, I was the assistant city manager. My boss decided to retire. I became city manager, and the council said, that's your job. Get that done. And so we have been focused on that since about 2014 when the city council adopted the 2025 plan. And I will tell you, when you look at the top 2 items, the top 2 big moves, green cities and extending the green, that was really a watershed moment for Louisville. It was something we had not focused on at all. And so if you go to that, if you look at this map, you'll see the green centerpiece. So all of that land that is just below that Louisville Dam, there's about 2,000 acres, is owned by the Corps of Engineers. And there were several universities initially in the early 90s that had a partnership and focused on the green centerpiece. We were not even a part of it, the city of Louisville, not at all. But with the 2025 process, what we learned from our residents was that area was important and that we needed to focus on it. If you look at the green centerpiece, it truly is now the heart of our planning process, and it has become what Louisville is about, and it is what sets Louisville apart from the rest of the Metroplex. If you look at the next map, I believe. So this is Louisville, so that's the green centerpiece in purple, and then you see this area in blue that's all floodplain. And then you see those little 3 dots. Well, guess what those are? Those are landfills. So that's an additional challenge we had. And so that box that Mindy just popped up on the chart, that's land that we just bought because we know that landfill, that's the waste management landfill, it's going to be closing in 3 years. So we want to be working with waste management so that we can make it all that it can be. And so that's really what the green centerpiece is, and extending the green is taking advantage. It's 25% of our land area in Louisville is floodplain. The 2,000 acres is owned by the Corps of Engineers. We have formed a partnership with a group, the University of North Texas, certainly LISD, Louisville Independent School District, the Corps of Engineers, on something that's called LILA. So the green centerpiece actually has a name, and it's called LILA, Environmental Learning Area. And the vision of LILA, I think, I just have to read it because it's so telling, to heal the land and restore the bond between people and nature, ensuring the preservation of our natural heritage for the future. That's really the key, is to bond human beings with nature, because how many opportunities do you have to do that in the Metroplex? Very few. If you look at the green centerpiece, the Trinity River flows through the green centerpiece, and it is the best kayaking in the Metroplex. It is the best bird watching in the Metroplex. It is such an incredible resource, and for the first time, we're making sure it's available to the public. Our partnership with the other entities, we actually formed a master strategy that has many, many steps so that we're all working together to make sure it is everything it can be. Extending the green means not only physically with trails and parks, but also with public art. This is, after we passed the 2025 plan, our residents were so supportive, we then passed the largest bond program in the history of our city. Part of that's a multi-generational center that's 87,000 square foot, $46 million center. What you see on the front is public art, and that's nature. That's bringing nature into our city and depicting that nature. And so what we try to do is it's been really a refocusing of our image on nature, on the green space, on what we should have probably always thought about. So we have a number of policies and programs that have come about because of the 2025 plan. Mindy's going to talk a little bit about the Denton County Greenbelt Plan and the Prairie Creek Urban Forest Plan. And I will tell you, with 2035, we're about to go out and reconnect and have another one-year process in our community to say, how are we doing with 2025, and what do you want next, or what do you expect next for 2035?
I know that we're running out of time, so if you have more specific questions as I'm flying through these slides, I would love to visit with you more in depth at lunch or during a break later as well. The Denton County Greenbelt Plan was first adopted in 2017. It was written in conjunction with Denton County and Upper Trinity Regional Water District. And what's unique about this is it's taking that watershed level approach. It's looking at that scale that goes beyond our city boundaries or our county boundary. And it looks at that idea that what we're all doing cumulatively together can have a greater impact on our urban water bodies. And so this plan allows us to have some strategies in how we are looking at prioritizing protecting these riparian and greenbelt areas around our urban streams. This is just a quick snapshot. I'm not going to go through the whole flow chart, but it shows you how the process they use to create this plan and to prioritize these different streams that they use. They use different priority factors there as well. And this map shows the final results in the plan that they came up with. The different colors indicate the priorities that they rank these streams with in terms of trying to really preserve those riparian greenbelt buffer areas around those stream corridors so that we're getting the greatest impact on our water quality and our drinking water bodies. You can see Louisville down here at the bottom where the star is. The green ones, the solid green, are ones that are already protected by ordinance or based on where they're located. The kind of salmon color is the primary opportunity. That's the focus that gives you the biggest bang for the buck. If you're able to get preservation there, you're going to have the biggest benefits. So those are the two to look at that we see there in Louisville. And then just a quick snapshot of what that means. You get different benefits depending on what amount of buffer zone you're saving there around your streams. Closer to your stream, you get bank stabilization, erosion control. Further away, you get greater water quality benefits, and then different habitat types start to come up as well. So that's part of what we keep in mind whenever we're looking at unfortunately. Gives us different trail management suggestions based on where it is in the floodplain, so that it's still operating as a floodway and managing the water flow, but you're not contributing to erosion into your stream. We had a neighborhood here that unfortunately I'm not going to get to talk through it very much, but they gave us some feedback about, just real quick, this is before the neighborhood was developed back in 1953, primarily agriculture usage. This is a current aerial that shows what the same neighborhood looks like now, so you can see how heavily developed it is, and it's channelized upstream of this particular area. We were looking at going in and doing some understory clearing, and we got some feedback from the neighborhood that maybe this wasn't what they felt like was the best use for the neighborhood.
We got some screaming calls. What actually happened. I got them personally.
For those of you that watch Parks and Rec, Amy Poehler says it's just people caring loudly. They were caring loudly. But you can see down here in the bottom where the clearing was done, and that's not the wildlife area that people in this neighborhood wanted. So we took that feedback. We worked with Half Associates to do a plan for us that helped us look at how can we balance, like we were talking about earlier, those different needs of the community, the ecological needs, the aesthetic needs, what parks needed to happen, what the community wanted to see happen, and come up with something that worked for everybody. This plan had 4 major goals within it that we're looking at moving forward to manage this natural area around our creek.
The neighborhood is now thanking us.
Yes. So what's next for us? You may be familiar with some of these different items. We're looking at integrating ISWIM into our drainage criteria manual. We're looking at using that same public relations process to update our community plan and our sustainability plan, and also looking at developing more specific goals for preservation of our riparian areas.
I hate that she's telling us to end because we have so many more projects to talk about. So many things that are going on in Louisville just because of 2025 and the